Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. With every step along this path, I feel a little lighter. With every lesson that I learn, I burn a little brighter. Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. And every soul along this path is like a little mirror. In understanding you, I see myself a little clearer. Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. Throughout this journey, I've been shown that I am not alone. Whoa. With everything that I create, I grow a little stronger. With every triumph on this track, I'll go a little longer. Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. Little by little, love is guiding me
Thank you, Nathan. Good morning, Unity of White Rock. My name is Thomas DeSchutter, and today we are going to discover our true DNA. And I love Nathan's song. It's a great lead up because truly, I tell you, spirituality and our spiritual unfolding is little by little and bit by bit. And it's an ongoing process. It never leaves us. It continues infinite. There is infinite abundance, and we are part of that. And so, Nathan, thank you so much for those words. I'm curious, for all of you that are here on Zoom, and even if you're on Facebook, on Zoom, there's a chat box, and I love some interactivity. I do a morning meditation live every morning, and I love it when I get some feedback. So if you're aware of the chat box here on Zoom down at the bottom, I invite you to open it up, and in the message side of it, simply type one word for how you're feeling right now. So just one word for how you're feeling right now, and just enter that into the chat box. And we'll just take sort of like, an understanding of where everybody's at. Where is everybody at within themselves at this moment as we begin a discovery into our true DNA? So somebody's already typed in, we're relaxed. Yes, I'm actually feeling very relaxed too, although I have to say, leading up to talks, I'm always very nervous. Happy, content, jazzed. Desiree is jazzed. Awesome. Yeah, and just keep adding that in. If you're familiar with it, just throw in the chat box how you're feeling. And then I have a question for you. We also have energized and connected. Oh, it's beautiful. I have a question for you, though, to look inside here, too. The second question, and that is, what are you building? What are you building? Or what have you been building? And I know for most of us, when that question is asked, we will go to the physical world. We will look at, I'm building a deck, or I have been working on a car, or I've been doing some sewing, or I'm building relationships with people. But usually what a lot of people look at is the physicality of what are we building. And I want to explore, what are we building inside of us? What are we building in our mindset? What are the things that we can do or that we are doing that will move our lives forward, that will grow our spirituality? And the reason I ask this is because no matter what it is we're building, we need a blueprint. You just don't go about building a house or a deck or something physical of that nature without having a blueprint. And I believe that a lot of that is the same with our own internal thinking, our own thoughts, our way of dealing with what comes up for us, not only within us, but from outside experience. The things that might trigger us, the things that might bring us into a state where we're now just reacting to life as opposed to building our life. And wouldn't it be great if in all circumstances we could be present enough that we could build our lives consciously, always on an upward consciousness? As I say this, I think of something that my kids taught me. I have 14-year-old twin daughters. And it's always amazing to me that when we talk about a family vacation, the moment that we book it, the moment that we create that vacation, suddenly it changes. Our own perceptions change. And then what's more fascinating, and maybe this is true for you as well, is that just as you're leading up to that departure, maybe a week before that big vacation that you've been planning is upon you, you start to future cast what that looks like. And your energy changes, your physiology changes as you're thinking about, I can't wait to go on this vacation. It's going to be so marvelous. And your whole mood and way of being shifts into that vacation mode. It's like it's already begun for you. And then what's equally fascinating, and I've seen this within my own children, so we're at Disneyland. We've got a couple days left of our vacation. One morning, we're having breakfast, and one of my kids is sad, and I ask, what's going on? Why the long face? And her response was, because we're going to be going home in a couple days. And so here we are, we're on this vacation. We're going to go spend the day in Disneyland. It should be this experience of fun and enjoyment and excitement. And what she was thinking about is that it's going to be ending in a few days, that we're actually going to be going home. And so we had a little conversation about being present to what was happening right now. And I'm curious if, look within yourself. Have you experienced that future that we're living into is actually taking over our feelings, as opposed to being present to what is right in front of us? You're all familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a well-renowned speaker and author. What he says is that 0.001% of what we are is physical mass, and 99.999% of us is energy. That energy so much of it is not just the molecules that make up that energy part of us, but it's our thinking. We have so much power in our thoughts, and it is our thoughts and our thinking that create our perception. Charles Fillmore says our minds, our thoughts are substance, and the physical part of us is merely particles. We are made up of 100 trillion cells, 100 trillion cells. And over the course of 7 years, all of those cells are rebirthed and recreated. They're all turning over constantly. Life wants more life. It wants more of that vibrancy. You know, at Unity, we have these great Unity principles, the 5 Unity principles. Principle number 3 is our thoughts create our experience. The things that we are thinking, the things that we ruminate on, the thoughts that take up our day are our experience. We have that much power. And as humans, for a lot of us, what we do is imagine, and I'll try to make this on video, it's a little tricky, but imagine we're going through life this way. And with us, we have this luggage, this baggage that we're carrying around with us, right? And so here's what we do. We leave one situation and we move into the next situation. And as soon as we get there, we put that baggage right into the situation. So we're carrying all of this stuff with us. And then we think we're making a change in our situation. And what we're actually doing is bringing that stuff along and putting it right down into the next working environment, the next relationship we might have, the next experience that we're having, unless we have a process in which to create new again, in which to leave that behind us. I mean, really, who wants to go through life dragging their past around with them? And yet, it is something that we all do at times, and I can speak for myself on this. It's something I've done for most of my earlier life. I dragged my past around with me without awareness to it and would just put it into the next relationship or the next situation that I was in. See, our thoughts is what creates our life. There is this thinking stuff from which all things are made and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. That is what Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore are talking about. That's what Unity principle number 3 is talking about. Our thoughts create our experience. And we have that ability to create out of nothing. And yes, it does require faith. Thought plus faith equals creator. And that's what we are. So, what are some tools that we can use in order to move ourselves forward powerfully, in order to let go of that past and not bring it into our future? Thankfully, we have 12 powers at Unity. And one of those powers is the highlight of this month for you. And it is release, the power to release. The power to release is eliminate, remove, denounce, deny. That is the power of release. And it takes a little bit of work from us. You know, I'm not talking about ignoring stuff. And I'm not talking about just putting a rose garden over top of a mud pie. See, when we want to release things, we need to grab it in our hands We need to look at it. We need to understand it. We need to know what it is within us so that we can grow from that experience. Why are we triggered by it? What is it that comes up from us? What are those feelings that begin to take over our experience? And once we know that, once we do that work, we can actually release it. We can let it go. And when we have release is tricky because when we have too much release, well, we might throw out the baby with the bathwater, as they say. And when we don't have enough release, then we might hoard. We might have a scarcity complex that comes up where we're thinking everything we've got to hang on to. We've got to hang on to it. So again, we want to be in that nice, even space of being able to eliminate or remove, denounce, deny things, and powerfully do it. But it begins by beginning to look at something and to understand it. And right along with release comes forgiveness. If we are not willing to forgive, whatever it is, whether it's something external or something internal, then we will carry that past, those experiences from the past, and we will go and put them into every future that we become a part of. It is that act of release and forgiveness that allows us to begin to get present to what's going on for us in each moment. Understanding that our thoughts create our experience. So when something happens, we can take a breath and we can say, wait a second, I've been here before. I don't want this in my life right now. I understand what's happening and I can choose another way. Our first century Jewish rabbi says this about forgiveness, and this is Matthew 18:21-22. Then Peter came to Jesus and he said to him, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister? How many times should I forgive them when they have wronged me? Is it up to 7 times? It's a good question. And Jesus turned to him and answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 7 times 70 times. In other words, we need to be willing to do the work of forgiveness until it is forgiven. And it's twofold. It's not just forgiving others. It's not just what somebody else might have done or what some experience might have come along that triggered us and sent us down a spiral. It's not just those. It's our internal forgiveness as well. We need to be willing to forgive ourselves, to truly begin the process of loving ourselves and forgiving ourselves. Love thy neighbor as yourself. It's pretty hard to love somebody, to love another person when we don't feel that for ourselves. So what can you forgive? What can you forgive in this moment about yourself? What is something that is within you that you can let go of in this moment, that you can ask yourself for forgiveness and grant forgiveness to yourself? It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be something like, I messed up, put too much sugar in my coffee this morning, and you get mad at yourself. You can forgive yourself in any moment and allow yourself the space to move forward. Because here's the thing. Here's what's beautiful, is that when we actually forgive and let go, when we truly forgive and let go of the past, because it's always the past that we need to forgive and let go of. When we do that, we create a space in which new possibility can flood in which it's like a vacuum. it's, you know how space is a vacuum. Well, this is the same thing. It's like a vacuum. As soon as we allow that forgiveness and we truly let go, it's like something new, some new possibility can take form in us, and we can move forward. And remember, thought plus faith equals creator. And what we're here to do is to create the blueprint to a life that we love. Creating a blueprint to the life that we love. Sorry, I didn't mean to change screens there. And that brings me to unity principle number 4, which is affirmative prayer. See, when we release and when we forgive and when we let go, we can affirm who we are. So our true DNA is, in fact, this lovely tool, denials and affirmations. First, we deny, and remember, it's not putting a rose garden over top of a mud pie. It's truly denying that we are that lower thinking, that we are that lower consciousness. It's truly denying that for ourselves. And in the next moment, affirming who we truly are, affirming who we want to be in that moment. And you do this repeatedly until it's healed, until that becomes no longer a question for you, till that faith is so strong of who you are being that that's just the way you move forward. And so a denial and an affirmation might be something like, you know, let's say I have a scarcity consciousness. Let's say I'm always thinking like I'm never going to make it ahead, or, you know, I'm worried about how I'm going to pay that next bill, or I'm worried about my business that I operate. When we're in that consciousness, we can deny that those feelings of scarcity, those feelings of lack have any power over us. I deny that these feelings have any control over me. And I affirm that I am an abundant being full of light and love and possibility. And if we're truly, truly doing the work, that's what we can live into. So with unity, we have these fabulous tools. We have the ability to release and let go through a practice of forgiveness. And we have affirmative prayer. And we can deny things that we're thinking about ourselves and affirm the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are is that we are beautiful beings. We are co-creators in this divine, infinite universe. We are one with God, the principle of God. That is who we are. We're energy. And we have the power to create our experience right here, right now. We can create the blueprint of a life that we want to live, creating a blueprint of a life we love. So I invite you to join me in an affirmation, and we're going to take this affirmation into our meditation and into the silence. Let us begin by starting to settle. Wherever you are, whatever your position you're in right now, I invite you to begin to settle in. If it helps, you can close your eyes and just notice your breath. Begin noticing your breath, and I will give you the affirmation. I release all thoughts and feelings that no longer serve my unfolding good. I release all thoughts and feelings that no longer serve my unfolding good. And as we begin to relax into this moment, noticing our breath, feeling our breath move in and move out, and we begin to quiet our thoughts. Looking to serve our higher good in this moment. And I invite Nathen to join me in this as we move ourselves along. And I ask you to notice any thoughts that are coming up for you, any feelings that are coming up for you. Asking, do these serve my highest good? Affirming that I release all thoughts and feelings that no longer serve my unfolding good. And we call on our divine wisdom in this moment. And I invite you to place one hand or both hands on your belly, where our power of wisdom rests. That internal guide that lets us know when something feels right or something feels off. And I invite you, as we move a little further along this journey, to hold that wisdom, to honor that wisdom, and we'll take this feeling, this oneness, this connectedness, and we'll spend a few moments in the silence together, open and willing to honor ourselves. We're bringing ourselves back gently into this space, into this community. with your hand still on your belly, I invite you to breathe deeply in through your nose into your belly on 3, 2, 1, and in. And let it go. And let's just spend a quick moment with some gratitude. Gratitude for this opportunity to share this community together, to be in this service together. For all of the leaders, which is all of us. We're all spiritual leaders as we lead ourselves along this journey. I thank Nathen for joining me in this meditation this morning and sharing his gift. And I thank each of you for allowing me to be a part of your day and your spiritual journey. Namaste.
Thank you, Thomas. When I was a boy, each week, Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a different air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That would be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird, shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half bare, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a different air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. everything is holy now.